Hey, this is Matt from Gravel Bottom. We wanted to run down some of our beers for you here. This here is our Guava IPA. This beer was originally designed by one of our home brewers, and it features guava in it. It's a 9.1 beer. It's got a lower bitterness level to it. And it really just features a great guava flavor to it. Next to that, it's a really, really good robust porter that we call Rebel Lion. Moving on down the line, we've got our Nookie Pale Ale. It gets its name from the use of Chinook hops, a large use of Chinook hops in this. Really good, refreshing, light pale ale. One of our exciting beers that we're just releasing today is our S'mores Stout. This was a homebrew competition that Steve Talley won. And designed just a delicious beer that says everything is s'mores. So make sure you come in and try it. That's a unique beer. Sanguinity is our blood orange wheat beer. And this beer has really been designed again for the summer, springtime, and really features a lot of blood oranges in there. Really nice citrus-based beer. Next to that one here, we've got our Bliss Stout. Bliss Stout was designed with the folks up at Bliss Fest for their festival last weekend, and it's a really good stout, and it's really leans towards a granola flavor in that stout. And then on the very end here, we've got our Cocoa Crusher Brown. Some people might know this as the beer that destroyed our fermenter. And it's a great brown ale that's known for a little bit of an oaty character to it. Typically, you start off. Most brew houses are going to have a three-barrel or three kettle type system. So just about every brewery is going to be set up the same way. You get a little bit bigger, they'll add a few more vessels in there, but they all do essentially the same thing. Here you start off with what we call a hot liquor tank, and basically this is glorified hot water heater. What this allows us to do, however, versus a hot water heater, is allows us to bring the water in and filter it, pre-filter it, and then it also allows us to treat that water. So if we wanted to match a beer from around the world, so say England, which is known for its IPAs, out in Burton, we could add some extra minerals and stuff to that water to match the profile of that region of the world to brew a more true style. And so we preheat our water here to what we call strike temperature, and we use that water to infuse into a bed of grain, and this vessel is called our mash tun. So we actually put grain in here. This mash tun holds about 250 pounds of grain. So we'll infuse water into there. And when we infuse that water, we have to hit a target temperature and be within about 1 degree. And the reason for that is where you hold the temperature of this grain bed will determine how many complex sugars you produce versus how many simple sugars you produce. And if you produce a lot of simple sugars, you're going to have a much lighter bodied beer versus complex sugars, going to lose some residual sweetness in it. From there, once you've built the beer from here, the grains you select will give you that malty backbone, roasty, toasty, biscuit, coffee, caramel. All that flavor is coming from that grain bill that we've put in there. Once we've converted our sugars, then we'll strain that off into here and collect the sugar water. We'll call that wort. And then we'll bring that up to a boil. And at this point, what we do is we add different additions of hops to try and grab different flavor profiles. We start off with a boiling hop that we boil for about an hour. The reason we do that is we're trying to isolate oils within that hop and make the beer bitter. So it's that bitterness that hangs out inside of your tongue. And after that, about 30 minutes into that boil, towards 20 minutes left of that boil, we'll add another hop addition. And that's to get the flavors out of the hops. You boil those off in the beginning. So we add that other addition of hops. And that's going to give you your floral flavors, your piney flavors. So your piney, your fruit, your citra. And those flavors are going to come from that 30-minute addition. And then at the very end, we're going to try and capture the aroma of those hops. Those are the very delicate, very highly volatile oils that boil off quickly. And we add those at the very end, so the last 5 minutes of boil, last 3 minutes of boil. So when you smell your beer, that's what we're capturing there. So you're taking that sip of beer and you get that floral smell from the beer. That's what we're doing at this last from this point, we need to lock in that hop profile and prevent anything from contaminating the beer. So we have to chill that beer very rapidly. And what we do is we run it through a plate chiller over here. We bring wort, hot wort through there at about 212 degrees is what it goes into there. And then we bring glycol that's chilled down to about negative 20 degrees. And so the fluid dynamics of those two passing on opposite sides of those plates transfers to the other beers. So you go from 212 degrees down to 68 degrees in about 20 to 30 minutes. And that's 100 gallons, so it's quite a process. From there, we go into our fermenters. We have 1 or 2 fermentation rooms. We have fermentation room number 1. It's going to be louder in here. We can do about 600 gallons of beer in active fermentation in this room, and then we got another 400 gallons in room on the other side of the place. Once we ferment in here, we'll ferment anywhere between, probably 21 days, 14 to 21 days, a little bit longer even for some of our bigger beers. Once the beer is finished out, what we do is we transfer it from there into our serving vessels. Let me show you over here. Sorry, it's a small place. From there, we go into our serving vessels. Try to not go on the floor. But we go into one of these serving vessels, which goes out to your tap. So we literally go from boil kettle, fermenter, serving vessel, to glass. You can't get a lot closer than that. And then from there, if you want to know how the beer is built, I can show you on the other side. Cool. The idea of Gravel Bottom is to get an experience. There's a lot of great breweries in town. You can go get a good beer, or great beer. And here what we try to do is give a full experience of the actual brewing process. And we do that through the taps. Like I told you earlier, we always have a home brewer on tap for that tasting. We always have somebody there to help tweak recipes for people based on some of those recipes and the order. Then we'll be having classes and seminars over in the tavern area as well, which should be kicking off in a month or so. And that's kind of a knowledge transfer. So for either the enthusiast or advanced brewers, beginning brewers, we'll have different types of classes for them to take. And then retail sales. So you're able to come in here and buy everything you need to do to brew your own beer. And you always have a brewer available for you to help you out. So on this side, you can see in the front here, it's a lot of different sugars, additives that you can add to the beer. We have our hop cooler over here. I think we're pushing 80 to 100 different varieties of hops right now, and about 100 different varieties of grain. Let me show you the pride to it. This is my favorite part of the whole place. This is the grain room. As you can see, there's a lot of different grains here. We don't even have them all displayed yet because we've just ordered so many new varieties. But we've got, like I said, about 100 varieties of grain here, and this is where the magic happens. This is where you build that malt base to your beer. And you can go from anything from a really light malt that's meant for sugar production to really darkly roasted malts that give you those complex flavors in your stouts. But if you want to try some, so this would be 80% of that mash that goes into that mash tun is this grain here. You can chew on it.
Chew on it?
Yeah, go for it. Not a lot of flavor to that one. That's mainly there to make sugar production. Now, conversely, you can go from that to what we call a caramel malt. These malts here, what's happened is they've already taken the sugars and they've taken the starches and converted them into sugars and then recrystallized them onto the hull. This gives us some residual sweetness, some color to the beer and some caramel character. So you try that. Now that's going to be a lot different than what you just tried. It'll be a lot sweeter.
What's it taste like?
Tastes like, I don't know what it tastes like.
It's a lot sweeter though, isn't it?
What does it taste like? It tastes like something, like tastes like grape nuts. That's what it
there
tastes
you go.
like.
Yeah,
Same texture too.
Yeah. And so that's some of the layer in. Then you come over here and you start getting into your chocolate malts or your roast malts. So like your roasted barley here. This a little bit different, a lot darker. So this
Am
is
I
going
gonna
to
eat
be,
this one too?
yeah, this is going to be more like a coffee flavor.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh,
It's like a French
it's just
roast.
like coffee, yeah, roasted.
And then you get into your more ultra specialty malts, like this one, which you have to smell as well as go and smell it.
Oh, smells like,
Smoke.
yeah, barbecue.
Yes. So that's a smoked malt and smoked with a hardwood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can definitely taste that.
And like a good Scottish ale, that's great to put that in. Those beers would have originally been brewed with hot rocks, and a lot of smoke would have been imparted into the beer.
Smoky.
So we often use that to replicate that. So that's the grain side, and like I said, you just tried 4 of 100 varieties.
Yeah.
So as you can get the idea, it's an endless combination of stuff we can work with to fill the beer. And then we have just as many varieties of hops. I just don't recommend chewing on hops. They're a little better.